All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. Our first story, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is now expected to present the mid-year budget review of estimates next Wednesday, July 20. The presentation was originally scheduled for tomorrow, July 13. But why the change in date and what are the expectations? Here is George Yafe.
Is learning that the change in date has been influenced by some extra work that needs to be done before the presentation. Sources say ongoing engagement with the IMF may force the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to make some drastic changes to the estimates. Therefore, he will be in a better position to do this after government concludes engagement with the visiting IMF team that is tomorrow. Well, what we are picking up for now indicates that there will be some drastic changes to the macroeconomic targets set out in the 2022 budget. The document outlining Parliament business for this week had earlier announced that the presentation will be made tomorrow. But looking at the fact that the decision to change the date was taken over the weekend by the ministry, maybe Parliament will be officially notified about it today. The document released by Parliament also mentioned a supplementary budget in addition to the mid-year review of estimates. But officials of the Finance Ministry insist the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta would not be presenting a supplementary budget next Wednesday. The country's Financial Management Act requires the Finance Minister to present a mid-year review not later than July 31 for each financial year.
Well, joining me with the latest from Parliament, parliamentary correspondent Kwawu Asante. Kwawu, any confirmation on what we are reporting concerning the change in date for the budget presentation?
Indeed, Daryl, this has been confirmed. We spoke with the Deputy Finance Minister, Abina Osei-Asare, who confirmed and actually gave the reason for this change of date as the negotiation with the IMF continues, just like George said in that report. And so government wants to conclude the negotiation with IMF, and then they can firm up a few decisions and then decide on what details they will include in the mid-year budget review. And so the main reason that government is giving is because of the IMF negotiation. We know they are meeting the Vice President today. They will also be meeting with Parliamentary Committee on Finance. And so what the Deputy Finance Minister, the indication she gives is that the next available date is 25th, before Parliament goes on break. She actually explained that the government is still within the legal requirements to present the mid-year budget review before Parliament rises and also before the end of July. And so the new date we have now, according to Deputy Finance Minister Abina Osei-Asare, is July 25, when the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will be expected to appear before Parliament and render the mid-year budget review after concluding negotiations with the IMF, who we know will be leaving the country after this preliminary assessment tomorrow.
All right, so if I got you right, I just want to be sure we got this right. The presentation will now be on July 25 and not July 20.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what the Deputy Finance Minister, Abina Osei-Asare, who just spoke to the media a while ago, confirmed that July 25 is the new date government or the Finance Ministry is sort of expecting to present the mid-year budget review to Parliament and to the Ghanaian public in general.
All right, so this is new information. If you're joining us on the marketplace, the Finance Minister will present the budget on July 25. Well, last week, with the minority in Parliament vowed to resist government's attempt to have Parliament approve the $1 billion syndicated loan, which the government needs to finance the 2022 budget. Where do things stand right now?
Indeed, Daryl, if you look at the order paper of today, the Finance Committee is expected to meet today on that decision, on that loan agreement. And so the committee will meet 2 p.m. The House actually just started sitting. And so at 2 p.m. per the order paper, the Finance Committee will meet and deliberate on the $1 billion syndicated loan that government is presenting to shore up funding to support the 2022 budget. And so the committee will meet today. We're expecting that the minority are going to remain insistent that that loan agreement will worsen the country's debt stock. And so when they vote against, the majority side are aiming to push through. If it comes to the numbers game, they will definitely win. And so it's expected to be a tussle. What we don't know is if the committee will be able to deal with this issue on the first day. So we'll be expecting to know if the committee will need further days to be able to deal with this. But at 2 p.m. today, the Finance Committee of Parliament will meet on that $1 billion deal which is dividing Parliament currently.
And as you indicated in your earlier remarks, we expect officials of the IMF to meet with Parliament's Finance Committee, which would include members from both sides of the House. We've recently had the minority bash government for poor management of the economy, for which reason we've had to return to the IMF. But do we get the indication from both sides that this is the way to go?
So the minority are insisting that the IMF deal is simply because government has mismanaged the economy and that they had to go to the IMF 2021. And so these issues are what is expected to engender some debate when the IMF officials come into the House today at 4 p.m. So it's quite a busy day for the Finance Committee. They'll meet at 2 p.m. to deliberate on the $1 billion loan agreement that government has played before it. Then at 4 p.m., they're expecting the IMF officials to come. What sources are telling me is that it's expected to become a political tussle because the minority insists government is not feeding the IMF delegation with the correct information, the right information to enable them make a decision. And so they will be seeking to paint what they call the true picture of the economy, where the IMF officials meet them at 4 p.m. today. The majority side, on the other hand, are saying that the figures government has presented so far, the meetings government has had have been very productive, and that this meeting is just supposed to be a cordial one where the IMF delegation is expected to take the input of Parliament before a decision is arrived at. And so it's expected to be kind of a tussle, but the majority insists this is just routine, while the minority believes that the IMF is turning to Parliament because they think this is the place they can get some correct information to enable them report back to their managers in Washington before they can make a decision.
All right, Kwawu Asante, keep following that story for us. We'll come back to you in Parliament once that engagement starts. Kwawu Asante reporting from Parliament. But some new information to report this afternoon. You know, we talked about the date change for the presentation of the budget from 13th to 20th. Now we're hearing it's going to happen on the 25th of July. So that's new information from Parliament for us. Now, an associate professor of finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Eliklimi Komla Agboyo, has called for a change in the structure of Ghana's economy. According to him, this is one of the prudent measures needed to stabilize the economy. Speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, Professor Agboyo said Ghana can actualize its dream of becoming a wealthy country by changing the structure of the economy rather than seek an IMF bailout.
We need to reduce our debt or try to manage it. 2, we need to ensure exchange rate stability. 3, we need to increase our level of reserves at the Bank of Ghana. 4, we need to work on reducing unemployment. 5, we need to work on increasing the level of savings in the economy. It's another key factor. 6, our perennial high interest rates is something that we need to work on. Okay.
So can your engine tell us, for example, by how much we would need to reduce our debt in order to be safe from the IMF?
Yes, we can do that. So you can do a simulation analysis, what if analysis. What if our debt fell to 60%? What if we're able to improve financial development from the current level to, let's say, about, so if you take our financial development is very low, usually it's about 30% of GDP. What if we're able to increase that? What if we're able to reduce unemployment? At which exchange rate level would our dependency reduce? For me, what the IMF program does for us now is to provide some space and time, in essence, to be able to put our house in order. So that gives us time in the short to medium term to be able to implement the necessary policies to ensure that the economy is stronger, that we're able to change the structure of the economy. Other than that, if the structure of the economy doesn't change, then we will be frequent. We'll be frequenting the IMF.
Now, turning to the stock market, the Ghana Stock Exchange ended the first half of 2022 with a negative year-to-date return of 24.13% in dollar terms. This placed the country 12th out of 15 top stock exchanges on the African continent. Joining us to make sense of this outcome is Head of Trading at Republic Securities, Patrick Edem Agama. And Patrick, I don't know whether to describe this performance as dismal, but this is certainly below expectation. So what triggered this? What happened to the once buoyant Ghana Stock Exchange?
Well, good afternoon. So what we notice is that as the bond market is improving, we know that the adverse effect will be on the stock market, where the stock market will drop. So this is very, very normal. However, in the first half of the year, we noticed that in terms of size or impact, the dip in MTN moving from 1.11 Ghana cedis per share to 90 pesos per share affected the market a lot because MTN is a heavyweight. We also saw that in terms of year-to-date change, we saw dip in PBC, Access Bank, Farm Milk, Total, Benso, Oil Palm, Cow Bank, and GCB. And that also affected the markets grossly. For the implications of this, we expect that investors to see this as an opportunity to reposition their portfolios, because when the market is dropping, it gives you opportunity to buy at a low price. So although you might be looking at a dip, but we can see that portfolio managers can take opportunity to restructure average cost and position themselves for the rise.
And what is the outlook for the rest of the year? Do you see the trading bouncing back like it was previously when we used to tout the Ghana Stock Exchange as being number 1 or number 2 in Africa?
Yes, for the rest of the year, we foresee some stocks gaining momentum and rising. MTN is an example. We've seen it rise for some time, but it's still stable at the current 90 pesos. We foresee that when the confidence comes to the economy and the bond yields begin to drop, investors will see the opportunity in taking positions in the stock market now when it's particular or it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know we talked about the implications for investors, but I want to talk about the market in itself, the Ghana Stock Exchange. This performance we're seeing in the first half of the year, does it say anything about the market in itself?
Well, yes, the market will have to improve. You know, in more advanced markets, when the stock market is rising, investors make money. And even when the stock market is falling, investors are still making money because people can short sell and make money. But our market, short selling is not allowed. So when the market grows, whenever there is an increase in prices or the performance gets better, investors are still making money. And even when it goes south, investors will make money. So we need some development in the market. So that development can bring about a change where investors will not be scared of the market keeping or dropping from time to time.
Let's pay attention to trading for this week. What do we expect?
Well, for the stock market, we expect more activity in CAL, MTN. However, we've seen that there are bids coming in for Total and Access Bank. So we should expect investors to have more interest. The buy side is building little by little because investors are beginning to see how these stocks are priced and relative to how they were priced some months ago, and they are taking advantage of this position in the market.
Well, let's switch topics and talk about Treasury Bills. Some good news from last week's auction. Government achieved around 42 to 43% oversubscription of its weekly sale. Is it a sign of stability?
Well, with the increased number or demand for these bills, yes, we can say that yes, we are reaching that stability level, but it will take some time. You know, the impact of the IMF news was felt on the market a bit. So we expect the rates to stabilize. If you look at the 91-day Treasury bill, it inched up just slightly to 25.89%. Surprisingly, the 182-day Treasury bill closed lower. It dropped by 2.41 basis points to close at 26.55%. That should tell you clearly where the rates are expected to be. But we know the IMF news will take some time to really impact the market after every discussion is over. So we expect that stability to come in, but there is still increasing demand for short-dated securities on the market.
And one last one before you go. On the secondary market, volumes decreased by 37% week on week to 3.9 billion, you are telling me?
Yes, we saw a huge decrease in trade volumes, and this was due to the primary auctions that we saw last week. That's for the cocoa bill and the Treasury Bills. For this week too, we expect the volumes to reduce a bit because we are expecting a new cocoa bill to be issued as well as new Treasury bill. Government is targeting about 932 million this week through the issuance of 91-day and 182-day Treasury bill. So we expect investors to take advantage of that, and that will be at a detriment to the secondary market.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick Demagama, the head of trading at Republic Securities. Appreciate your time. Now, let's turn to one other top story we are following for you. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahen-Edu, has accused European companies that buy cocoa beans from Ghana and Ivory Coast of deliberately setting conditions that always keep the global prices of cocoa beans down. According to him, cocoa farmers from the two countries have been made worse off due to the unfair pricing regime dictated by European companies. Speaking to some European companies that purchase cocoa beans from Ghana, Mr. Boahen-Edu said Ghana and Ivory Coast will join forces to end the practice where the two countries are forced to always accept prices set by European companies.
For us, when prices fall, as we are experiencing now, and last year, because of COVID, we had this natural glut, natural surplus of cocoa in the market. Cocoa prices were down, but not think the price of chocolates went down. No. As we speak today, there's deficit of cocoa in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. Still, prices are down. When it comes to supply, I mean supply. From the supply side, now we have a deficit, shortage of cocoa in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. Still, prices are down. So, we will want us to discuss this matter. We must interrogate this matter very well, because when there is surplus in the market, prices are down. When there's shortage, prices are down. And this informs us that there's some kind of deliberate attempt to keep prices down. And that's why, we want very frank, open discussion of this matter here and today, because we represent the base, which is very vulnerable, the farmer, the producers. You constitute the neck, And then you have the consumers at the top. And we believe that the base is not getting its remunerative reward for what it produces. And I don't think the consumers are also getting the best from low prices. If you should keep price low, then it means the price of chocolate should all go down across the globe. But if you've also not seen that.
Now, the Ghana Hotels Association is calling for fair disbursement of the $10 million tourism grant provided by the International Development Association of the World Bank Group. This comes after President Akufo-Addo last Wednesday launched a project meant to cushion small and medium enterprises to transform the tourism sector and stimulate economic growth. Speaking to Joy Business, President of the association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike Jr., indicated that members of the association were gravely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, hence the need for transparency in the disbursement.
The grant is to revitalize the tourism sector, which was heavily hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Some 1,500 SMEs are expected to benefit from the arrangement, which will target mostly women who are the majority operators in the sector. The project is seen as a perfect vehicle through which Ghana can grow its economy in the face of the global recession. Dr. Nyamike maintained that the purpose of the grant will be a reality when there is transparency.
Well, it's a grant that is supposed to be disbursed to the whole fraternity of the tourism and hospitality, not only hotels, because we have the car rentals, we have the restaurants, we have the tour operators, tour guides, and so on. So we are looking forward to a fair disbursement of the money, period. I mean, there was a first window, and some of the tourism enterprises benefited. So with this second window, we are also hoping that a lot of our members will also benefit, so that the debt that we created, or that was created during the pandemic in 2020, will be able to offset some of those debts. So it's welcome news, and we are all for it.
He called on industry players to take advantage of the grant, assess it, and use the funds judiciously to grow their businesses.
Well, the engagement is that the application is online. It's there for everybody. So long as you qualify as a tourism SME and you have all your documents, it's not an automatic entry, because you need to satisfy certain requirements, certain criteria. So long as you qualify, I believe the committee will look at it and then do the needful.
The hospitality and creative arts sectors were a significant part of the national economy, adversely affected by the pandemic, resulting in a 75% decline in international tourism arrivals in 2020 and a 45% reduction in 2021.
Now, the Ghana Standards Authority says it will soon raid markets to clamp down on sale of illegal and substandard products. During a public sensitization exercise at the Central Business District of Kumasi, the authority observed the infiltration of some substandard products on the market. Officials say persons found culpable will be prosecuted. There is more in this report.
Staff of the Ghana Standards Authority in Ashanti hit the principal streets of the Kumasi Central Business District to engage traders on its mandate. Shops visited included textiles and consumables at the Kejita Market and other trading centers within the business enclave. Vendors and buyers were sensitized to always ensure items purchased bear a certification mark from the GSA. Samuel Kofi Frimpong is the director of the Ghana Standards Authority Middle Belt.
A lot of people cannot read or write, and some of these things, even the label, is governed by a law. So if you can't read or write, you go to the market and you are buying something, instead of checking the badge number, the manufacturing date, the expiry date, and all those things, you can't read or write. It makes the thing very difficult. It means that we have to then do that part for you.
The authority observed a number of fake goods had penetrated the market, posing danger to the safety of the public. The GSA says it will swoop on such products on the market, especially at the Kejita Market. Mr. Frimpong says persons found culpable will be made to face the rigors of the law.
A lot of people are buying goods. A lot of goods are on the market. We did some little marketing exercise, and we realized that there are a lot of products on the market that don't bear our mark of conformity. These materials, they are on the market. When we went to KGTR, we went to see some of them over there. They are there. Those things, where they are passing, we have to make sure that we block those places so that they pass through the approved routes. And from now, with this sensitization work that we have made, our people are going to the market from next week, right from next week, and we are hitting the ground. And if your products don't bear the mark, it is produced in Ghana and it doesn't bear the mark, you are in trouble. If it comes from outside and we sample some and we take it to the lab and it doesn't meet the standard, that one to take it because you brought it into the country. If you don't go through that thing and you sell, you produce, you dispose, all those things without us knowing, you will be taken to court.
For JoyNews, Emmanuel Kwiku reporting.
Next, your money tip on Money Lab.
Good day to you and welcome to the Money Lab. What is a trust account? A trust account is an account that is opened and operated by one who is not the direct beneficiary of the account. Trust accounts can be opened for minors and the aged, and even for other people who may not be readily available to operate that account.
And that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Our top story there, IMF team to engage Bawumia Parliament today. We'll be following up on that for you. Also new today, the presentation of the media review will now be on the 25th of July. You heard our parliamentary correspondent update us on that. And so there'll be more on Business Live. Do stay tuned. My name is Daryl. Thanks for watching. See you same time tomorrow.